Hey everybody, Andy here. Career Coach Andy, helping you build a career you love. Great to have you from a live show, or if you're watching this on a recording, it's always great to have you any way you can make it. Today we're going to be talking about resume writing. I've got some tips I want to share with you. I also want to take a lot of your questions. So this is really going to be resume focused. If you're here with me live, get in the chat, say hi, put some question marks in front of your questions. We're going after resume questions first. Let me know where you're watching from. Always love to know if you're in one of my programs. Give me a hashtag. Let me know if you're a boot camper or a leader, or if you're in my resume program or anything else, maybe my interview intervention program. Let me say a quick hello, then let's get right into it. Let me see. What do we... Oop, I hit the wrong button there. There we go. Who's in the house? Steve, great to see you. Well, we got two Steves in a row. We got Adam from on the other side of the pond. Michael Tierney, I love my mainstays. Who else? Word Dog Toronto, my Canadian friend. Mo Heat, my leader. What's happening? Moving forward. T.A. Bragg, Danny Forbes, and everybody else wherever you're watching from. Great to have you. Okay. Resume writing's tough. You know why resume writing's tough? Because it's about marketing. It's about sales. It's about human psychology. And if you're wondering how to put a resume together or why your resume isn't getting you more job interviews or more opportunities, I like to say open up the door to the opportunities. It isn't the most vital part of your job search, but it is a pivotal part as it relates to creating intrigue, creating interest in you, getting somebody interested in wanting to talk to you. And the faster it can get somebody to that decision, the better your resume is. But a lot of people struggle with it because they try to describe themselves. They try to talk about the features they have. They try to talk about what it is that they can do. And most people that I know think that the resume is a work history document, right? Littered with all the things that you've done. And nothing could be further from the truth because the resume is a marketing vehicle to get you to where you want to go. It needs to be written to make a sale for the sale you want. And in your case, what that means is, how do I get to where I want to go? Yes, I need to use information in my professional background, in my education, and my volunteer work, and every other thing that I can think of that sells me best. The problem is most people don't know how to package that up into a marketable message. So I want to talk about 4 tips today to help you better understand how to do that. And then we'll finish it out with a bunch of your questions. So one of the things that I think is really vital is certainly understanding how somebody uses a resume to determine if they want to talk with you. And I want to take this talk today in the direction of assuming that somebody's actually looking at your resume. I don't even want to talk about the applicant trashing systems. Those are machines that are not really effective. They're not designed to help you get through. They're designed to filter you out. Let's not talk about that. Let's assume that you're going to get eyeballs on your resume of someone's. And it would be helpful to understand what they're looking for, where they're looking for it, what words are going to resonate with them, what's going to entice them. And that'd be great. But even if you didn't know any of that, think for a minute about how is it that y'all, as a consumer, buy anything, right? Because that's what an employer is doing. They're looking to buy you and your services. So you are now the marketer of you. You're the seller of you. So think of yourself as a consumer. When you look at a product, right, and you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, or maybe now you're scrolling through your Threads feed. I'm on Threads. Go follow me there, and we can get connected and have a conversation there. That Twitter killer, I guess it's supposed to be. But when you're scrolling through your feed and you're looking at stuff, and you see that beautiful guy in the built body, or you see that beautiful woman in the nice bikini, or whatever it is, and you're thinking, I want to buy that product, right? What they're selling, that health program, that workout program, that whatever. You're buying the transformation. You're not buying the 300 days in a row of working out and eating healthy and sleeping right? That's the grind. Those are the features of the product, are the steps you need to take in order to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. But what did you buy? You bought the body, right? That's what you're buying. You're buying the transformation. Nobody And I mean, nobody buys features. They buy the transformation. Yes, nice features that are going to help me transform more easily are great, right? If it's all nice and packaged and I don't have to spend a lot of time getting what I need or the tools I need or whatever it might be that are part of the features. But ultimately, people buy with emotion. They buy for the transformation. And what most job seekers do is they write a resume that's filled with features and it's boring and it's not enticing and it doesn't help me as an employer or any corporation that's looking to bring you in understand how their lives are going to change as a result of hiring you. And that's what your resume needs to do. So I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to start doing that. Obviously, it's going to be a quick talk. We're not going to go into every single bit and byte, but I picked out 4 of the biggest tips that I could give you that I think will give you the biggest bang for your buck in changing your work history document into a marketing document. The first is the career profile. Now, you don't need to worry about visualizing what this is because Kara has already put in the chat, or it'll be in the description of the recording, a download to my free resume template. The resume template shows you the exact layout. I even have instructions in the booklet that I give you to help you understand more about what I'm speaking about right now. Basically, there are 4 key sections to a resume. There's also a few extra sections as well. There's a career profile, which is at the top. This is like a summary. It's the first thing that somebody should see. Then you have some highlights or achievements, you could call them. Then you have your professional or work experience, and then you have your education. You can have skills, you can have volunteer stuff, you can have other things that I primarily put at the bottom of the resume, but essentially there's those 4 main skills that virtually everybody is going to have. And at the top is what I like to call a career profile. It is your executive summary of who you are. Now, some people ask me, well, Andy, why would I want to put a summary at the top? Aren't those extra words that somebody would have to read, aren't they just really interested in where I'm working and where I worked before and what my role was and what I did? And to that, I would say, yes, in part, they do want to understand those things. But let me answer that question with a question. If you gave me a 100-page booklet and said, here's my analysis, my conclusions, everything you need to know, Andy, to make a decision about whether to do this or that, and you didn't put on top of it a 1-page summary that I can breeze through to understand the highlights, the conclusions you've drawn, and your recommendations, I could read in 1 page and get basically 90% of what I needed to for the next 99 pages. Your resume is like that. That's what a lot of you do. And the worst part of it is, not only did you miss out on the opportunity to share you with me the way you want me to know you, right? Because you get to pull forward the pieces of information that you want me to concentrate on. You shine the light on what you want me to see. You missed that opportunity. But the other thing that you did is now you're going to make me go through the rest of your resume, and I have to go through the rest of the 99 pages, right, in my analogy, and I have to look at everything so that I can assemble a story about who you are. That takes longer than if you would have just spoon-fed me that information at the top. So the career profile's greatest attributes are you get to control the narrative of how I think about you. Perhaps you did some work early in your work history or early in your profession, and you want to draw my attention to the first 10 years, not so much the second 10 years of your work experience. You can do that in a career profile by controlling the story and shining the light on 10 years of experience even if it was the first half, right? But if you make me walk through your resume chronologically and I have to assemble all the pieces, and this becomes even more vital for somebody who's got a bit more of an eclectic background. So the career profile is your billboard. It's the first thing that they see. And if you think anybody is going to skip over your career profile, if it's well written, you're mistaken, because they're going to read it from top to bottom. They're going to skim it from top to bottom, more accurately, I should say. And if there is a well-crafted career profile at the top, I'm going to read that because it's going to save me time, because you're giving me the highlights and you're giving them to me right away. And so I cannot stress enough how important the career profile is when you're putting your resume together. Don't think for 1 second that people don't want it. People want to come to the conclusion of whether they want to speak with you or not, and they want to do that as fast as possible. It's not about how quickly can I read your resume. It's how quickly can I come to a decision. Anybody who tells you to omit the career profile doesn't understand that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Tell the story you want me to tell. Shine the light on the things you want me to know about you, not the things that I'm going to have to speculate you want to know about me or me to know about you. And the other thing is, if you control the narrative, you're going to control the story that you want me to know about you. If I have to assemble that story, it's likely that I'm not going to assemble it as accurately, and by as accurately, I mean as marketable as you can be. So that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with your career highlights. The second section below the career profile is another chance for you to pull forward from all your years of work experience different highlights. I recommend 3 that you feel, and I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. These career highlights are the elements that you feel will market you best based on what the employer you're reaching out to, or the types of employers you're reaching out to, what they would need to know in order to determine how much value you can add for them. What is most important for them to know about you that's going to market you best, as opposed to the 3 things you're most proud of. So let me give you an example from my life. I spent the first almost 18 years as a corporate leader. I was a management and information technology consultant. I did a lot of things. I consulted to a lot of companies. I did business process reengineering. I did systems implementations. I ran business units. I sold, served, and did a whole bunch of things. I built infrastructure. I built sales teams. I built marketing teams. I built delivery teams. I did all of these things. And there are some things that I did in the first 18 years that I am so proud of, none of which matter at all to me helping you as a career coach. Yes, my background as a practitioner might help. My understanding of you as an employee might help. But if I was to tell you that I built a tool that helped an IT consultancy estimate different types of implementation solutions, that was able to accelerate their ability to do that, improve their accuracy and do it, we were able to respond to requests for proposals faster, and so on and so forth, would you care anything about that? No, but I'm so proud of that. And if that's one of my highlights, and I'm trying to give you my resume to have you hire me as a career coach, it's not going to make any difference. But that's what a lot of you do. You put up top what you feel you're most proud of. And that isn't what always sells you best. What sells you best is your value in relation to them. How do I provide you value? I help you find jobs and I help you thrive in them. How I present myself to you, right, in the highlights I give you every Thursday at the live show, right, is in relation to what you need. And you come to the show based on the help you need. That's what I provide you. That's my highlight to you. Right? So you need to think of your value in terms of what they need. We call it selling to the gap, right? You didn't come to YouTube, or you didn't come to my blog, or you didn't buy my book because you were looking for me. You were looking for the problems that I solved, and you were looking for how to write a resume, how to interview better, right? How to negotiate your salary. That's what brought you to me. But I had information available. You want to have highlights available to the employer that are in direct relation to what it is they need as it relates to the goals they want to achieve and the problems they're going to encounter in achieving those goals. You want to show, I've helped other organizations accomplish those goals. I've helped other teams accomplish those goals. I've helped them by solving these kind of problems, doing these kind of activities. And so when you think about the highlights that you want to select, that you want to pull to the top of your resume, you want me to see those immediately. So when I see you as a marketer, I know you've helped companies increase their leads, increase their prospect base, decrease their cost of prospect acquisition, or decrease their cost of customer acquisition, or increase the sales team's conversion rate because you located better prospects. Those are the kind of challenges that every company has from a marketing standpoint. You might not know my specific problems in achieving those goals, but generally speaking, there's a pretty easy way for you to ascertain what's important to me as an employer, what's important to me as a marketing executive if you're joining the marketing team or the recruitment team or the sales team or the accounting team or the whatever. So when you think about your highlights, the best thing you can do to market yourself is to pick the ones that most closely relate to how you're going to contribute the value in terms of the goals they're trying to achieve and the problems that they're likely to encounter in the way of achieving those goals. All right, so second point. Third point is bullets in general. Now, these guys right here, these highlights are bullets. They're resume bullets. And most of your resume, let's say, I don't know, half of it maybe, is going to be filled with bullets. The problem with most people and the way they write bullets is they write bullets that are activities based. I manage the customer service team. Yawn. Right? I manage the marketing department. Yawn. That doesn't tell me anything. Basically tells me what your function is. And that's great. I want to know what happened as a result of you managing that team, right? So what you need to think of in terms of the bullet and the sequence in which you present the bullet is what happened as a result of me doing what I did and how did I make that happen? The sequence of the bullet from left to right, beginning to end, starts with what happened. Something went up, something went down, something got smoother, something got more compliant, something of that nature. There was an impact. What was the impact? I call it the effect. The effect goes first, what happened, and then what caused it to happen. This is the activity. This is the afterthought. Okay? If you are presenting yourself as somebody who knows how to market, I know you know how to do marketing activities. What tells me how effective you are at doing those marketing activities is what happens as a result of you doing what you did. I don't know that you can make these little pictures out, but this is me getting cheeky. That's a dollar sign, but it's a figurative dollar sign, and that's a little gear. That's the activity. So I want you to think in terms of what happened first, and then how did I make that happen? Now, these bullets are going to be 3 career highlights or so, and they're going to also be within each of the role positions that you had throughout your work experience. You want to be able to include bullets like this that say what happened as a result of me doing what I did. Explain that to whoever's looking at your resume, right? That goes on the resume. But the way I want you to consider how to lay these out is 3 bullets or so go in the highlight section. But the fourth tip I want to give you is related to the professional experience section. You could call it the work experience section. That's okay. Call it anything you want, but it's basically your experience. And I'm assuming this means your professional experience. So full-time jobs that you have held or part-time jobs that you have held that support why you are qualified to help companies achieve the value you're going to help them achieve. Now, the way you lay your professional experience section out is company first. You want the company name on the left. And then there's a little description of what that company is, or perhaps if it's a large company, which area within the company you were primarily focused on. Then you want to list your titles in reverse chronological order. So your most senior title or your latest chronological title that you held at an organization. Underneath that title, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to create a mini summary of the normal, mundane, obligatory things that you want to explain that you did as part of holding that title. So what do I mean? There's a housekeeping area. The housekeeping area is what I just call it the mundane context that lets you know generally what I was doing. So as an example, going back to my customer service example, housekeeping for a customer service manager might look like responsible for, it's okay to start it this way in the summary section underneath the title, responsible for managing 56-person customer service team. Client portfolio included 58 customers focusing on blah, blah, right? That's housekeeping, mundane stuff. There's nothing interesting about it other than the fact that you manage 56 people. Gives me an idea of the size of team you met. Maybe you had 7 direct reports. Maybe it was a multinational. Maybe it was across 4 different countries or continents or whatever. That's all boring context stuff. Just a little 2-3 sentence paragraph that includes all the mundane stuff. You don't need to put, I ran the status meetings, I participated in meetings, I created reports. Of course you did. We don't need to know all that. It doesn't market you very well. I just need to know you managed the team, how big it was it dispersed, were you 24 hours, whatever. Give me the day, give me the housekeeping stuff. Then you give me some bullets. Those bullets are the important achievements. Going back to this format, what major achievements did you accomplish in that particular position during those particular years? If you were the customer service manager, let's say between 2019 and present, just tell me, give me 3 bullets underneath the housekeeping. The housekeeping could be 6 bullets rolled into 3 lines. Okay, the stuff that most people want to put on their resume. Just put the context in there and then tell me what achievements happened. And what type of achievements do I want to know? In this case, for a customer service manager, what does a customer service manager do? They're supposed to increase customer happiness, right? Maybe decrease call times or resolution times, or increase revenue because they solved the problems faster, and then they had a greater chance for their CSRs or customer service reps to upsell additional services, things that made major impact. And so the bullets that go in the professional experience section should be reserved to what I call the Great 8, basically the 8 things employers care about. They care about generating money, so increasing revenue. They care about increasing their market awareness, so increasing brand awareness or market awareness, right? They care about increasing customer service. They care about increasing employee service. They care about decreasing costs, right? They care about positioning companies for events, right? These kinds of things are what you should reserve your bullets for, because they are impactful business value added events. Okay, I wouldn't put any bullet in my resume that did not answer this question: what happened as a result of me doing what I did? If it doesn't answer that, it's housekeeping kind of stuff that you could toss in as a description underneath the title that you held, meaning I managed the customer service team and all associated, whatever, there are 56 people. Okay, that's what you did. Okay, you're giving me the context. You're telling me the story. Now I understand. But as far as accomplishments go, those bullets underneath each title should be reserved for major business effects. So this is the big mistake that people make, because a lot of times they list bullets after bullet after bullet. Managed customer service team, had 56 direct reports, did status reporting and reported to management. And this is why your resumes are 4 pages and not a page and a half or 2 pages. So I want you to think about these 4 things from a marketing standpoint to kind of round this out. You got the career profile, control the narrative, tell the story that you want told. The highlights illuminate the things you want me to concentrate on. Immediately get me to look at the things you cherry picked that tell me I'm going to create this kind of value for you, Mr. Employer. Bring that to the top, right? Don't go diving right into your professional experience and making me assemble stories and then try to find where it was that you added value that I think is relevant to me and what I need at the moment. When you look at your bullets, whether they're career highlights or whether they're in the professional experience section, what happened as a result of me doing what I did? How did I do that? That's second. Last thing, professional experience. Make sure you're creating it. Company, mini description, title, mini description, and then bullets that are impactful about your achievements. You do this, and your resume is going to have a lot more power to it. I've got a whole resume writing playlist on my YouTube channel, which you can check out. If you enjoyed this little clip here, make sure to click the like button. Share this. A lot of people need help. If you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week. If you're here with me live, we're going to the chat.